John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hello, my name is John Ulzheimer. I am a consumer credit expert. I've been in the credit industry for almost 30 years. I have spent time at FICO, which is the company behind the FICO credit scoring system, and Equifax, which is one of the three generally recognized credit reporting agencies in the United States. So today I'm going to talk about some information on your credit reports that you may have not seen before. It's not brand new, it's relatively new on a credit report. It's called trended data, which is kind of an industry term. We like to make things confusing and complicated. And really what trended data is a new section of a credit report information that captures important information about the historical payment relative to an account. And so let me explain what trended data is, and then I'm going to talk about the importance of it and what it says about you as a borrower. So the next time you pull your credit report, which you can do weekly through April of 2022 at annualcreditreport.com for free at no cost, you're going to see a 24-month history of payment information regarding credit cards and loans, to the extent that the lender chooses to report it, and a lot of them do, especially the really large credit card issuers. This 24-month chronology or trend of information is going to identify the balance on your account for the last 24 months as of the statement, meaning the balance is going to be whatever was on your statement over the past 24 months, the credit limit of the account for the prior 24 months, the actual amount that you paid for the last 24 months, and then the scheduled payment amount that was due for the last 24 months. And so what this information allows anybody who looks at it to determine, it allows people to determine the trajectory of your balance over time. It also allows us to check what your credit limit was over the past 24 months. Is it higher than it was? Is it lower than it was? The actual payment amount that you made over the past 24 months, was it the actual balance due? Did you pay it in full every single month? Or did you pay some amount smaller than the balance that was due? And what percentage were you paying month over month? Were you always paying a really small amount? Were you always paying the full amount? Were you paying something in between? What is the trend of that ratio? Are you trending towards paying it in full every month? Are you trending towards only paying the minimum every month or something in between? And then the scheduled payment amount. So in other words, if the scheduled payment amount, let's just say hypothetically that the scheduled payment amount is $100 and the actual payment is also $100. What that tells anybody who looks at that particular credit report is that you're just making the absolute minimum payment due on that particular account, which is fine from a payment history perspective because you're paying it on time, which means it's not falling delinquent every single month. So you're doing fine in that payment history kind of set of metrics. In other words, things that measure whether or not you've got derogatory information on your credit reports or not. However, the second most valuable group of metrics in your credit score have to do with how you manage your debt. And one of the measurements in that category are the various ratios. In other words, balances to limits. And that's also very predictive of whether or not you're going to be a higher risk in the future or you're going to be a lower risk in the future. And so to the extent that you are what's referred to as a revolver, and a revolver, not a gun, but a revolver in the terms of credit cards means that you are carrying a balance month over month over month. You are revolving a balance month over month. And you can tell whether or not someone's doing that by looking at this information, because I know if the balance is higher than the actual payment that you made, that you're carrying over some amount of the balance. If I know that you're only making the actual payment amount is the same as the scheduled payment amount, then I know you're only making the minimum payment and therefore you're revolving a balance. So I also can tell if you're what's referred to as a transactor. And a transactor in credit card context means that you're paying the balance off in full every month. Meaning that if you get a bill for $1,000, you're paying $1,000. If you get a bill for $2,000, you're paying $2,000. You're paying off all of your transactions every single month. And so really you're just using the card almost for convenience sake, or you're earning rewards points, but you're certainly not using the revolving aspect of the card because you're making your payment in full every month. So then a logical follow-up question, which I didn't throw up here because it wasn't something that anybody asked me, but a logical follow-up question is as well, does any of this stuff affect your credit score? Because we know paying your bills on time and what your balance is, we know all that stuff is important, but what about how I paid it over the past 24 months? Is that important in my credit score? The answer is, with credit score related questions, is it depends. So this trended data, which is also referred to as time series data, is not considered in any FICO branded credit scores before FICO 10T. And FICO 10T, which actually came out in 2020, does consider trended data when it's calculating your score. Vantage Score 4, which is the most current version of that's a Y, this is a 4, all right. Vantage Score 4, which is the newest of the 4 Vantage Score models, also considers trended data. So while FICO 8, Vantage Score 3, FICO 9, some of the older versions of these scoring systems don't consider this information, the newest ones do. And eventually lenders are going to convert to these newer models, and therefore this information is going to be relevant. So to the extent that you want to perform well in these categories and do well in these scoring systems, then even though it's hard to do, and I understand that it's hard to do, you're really going to want to trend towards paying your balance in full every month for a variety of reasons. Number one, it's cheaper. You don't want to pay interest, and if you pay your balance in full every month on your credit card, then your interest rate is irrelevant because you're not paying interest anyways. You can charge me 1,000% interest and that's fine because I'm not going to pay any interest anyways. And it's also going to be helpful in your score, showing that you are paying a larger amount of your balance every month. That's your trajectory. Than if you're only kind of basically just kind of cruising or treading water and only paying that really small minimum amount every month. So that's not going to be helpful for your score in these newer scoring systems. So if you have any questions about trended data, I promise you it's there. Pull your credit reports and you'll see it. 24 months of history on auto loans and mortgages and credit cards, to the extent that the furnisher provides that information. It's going to become more and more important over time as lenders start to convert to these newer scoring systems. If you've got any questions about that, drop them in the section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Have a great rest of your day.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.